thanks to the support as a channel member, Robert Bannerman. I don't fully understand why the game doesn't think I've already qualified for the Champions League, because I think I have. Either way, mathematically, I think we should today. Whatever. It's the FA Cup final as well. Let's win a trophy. And this is where the confusion comes from. We've got one game to go. We're 6 points clear of 5th place, and I think fifth place gets in anyway. So we're actually 10 points clear of 6th place Everton with one game to go. Unless we're getting a points deduction. I don't know why we're only showing us being in the Europa League. It's also nice to see that we got that gap on Newcastle back to 15 points, partly because we beat them. We beat them at their place to delay them winning the league, but they still won the league, and we have struggled in our last couple of matches. We have pre-arranged a couple of transfers though, which will meet properly in the transfer special. But we've got an 18-year-old defender who's being brought in very much with a view to him becoming homegrown at club, because we obviously need that. And then a 19-year-old Mexican wonder kid that Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid wanted, and we got for less than 10 million. So we just swooped in and grabbed him. But there will be much business to do, because we have a lot of players out on loan that we're going to be able to sell for some money this summer. So there is still some money. That's obviously not the main goal for today. The main goal is winning this trophy, but we also have the secondary goal of wanting to be able to pay the £68 million release fee or optional future fee for Dylan, who has been a very useful backup to Mertens this season. We would like to keep him around, but it's going to be very expensive to do that. So yeah, that's all for the next episode. For now, let's beat Hull, confirm we're in the Champions League, get our budgets, and then go win the FA Cup. So this is the team for the last game of the season. Strazic in goal, a back four of Lee, Vidal Santos, Shearlink and Delos Santos, Mialescu and Coppens in midfield, Veriga, Dylan and Cost behind Carlos up front. Potentially Carlos's final game for the club, because although he's been a useful player for us this season, as you can see, lots of clubs want him, and I would be happy to sell him for like 70, 80 million if we get offers in that kind of range from some of those big clubs to use that money to make Dylan permanent. We've got the young striker coming in from West Ham, and we can always add a third guy in from somewhere and let Carlos go. It's not as if he's ever really established himself as a nailed on regular starter. That's going to be cost for years to come. And hopefully this youngster Williams, I think he's called Williams from West Ham, will be his backup long term as well, because he's a plan B. He's a 6'4" striker. He's an alternate option, not just more of the same. So yeah, I'm not against letting Carlos leave. That being said, he's scored there. It's his 15th goal of the season, which is not bad for the backup rotation option. It shows how much we've used our squad this year. I don't know, this might be getting disallowed. Ref, sort us out. Ref's a wally. Oh, I'm not having a nice time with referees at the moment. They're upsetting me. I still don't know why we're not in the Champions League. At least our goal difference is almost as good as Newcastle's. We've just been a little bit inconsistent at times this year. Youth and naivety. Hopefully we can win the Premier League again next year. We'll just win everything next year. That's what you get from a 6'4" defender, midfielder, by the way, of Mialescu, actually winning a header. And there's Veriga. Veriga cuts it back to Coppens. A rare venture into the penalty area for him. Mialescu has stayed deep to allow him to do it. And Dylan from range. That might be the last goal he ever scores for us. If it is, it's as good as anything Mertens has ever done. 9 goals for him, again, as the backup in that position. We're playing him from the start today, really, as an advert to you lot, to show you why I want to spend £68 million in one go. No instalments, just bring that guy in. I think he's too important as a rotation player. I think it would cost that much to replace. I mean, we're spending that kind of money on a 19-year-old wonder kid striker who's not even got double figures for goals in his career. So to be able to spend that on an established international Champions League quality 4-star current ability player, it seems like a no-brainer to me. Right, Mialescu plays it all the way back to Shearlink. And then Delos Santos, big, deep cross. It falls to Carlos. And that's where we need the big, strong physical presence in there for situations like that, because it's an early cross, it's high into the penalty area, and Carlos just can't muscle his way onto it any more than Cost can when he gets the opportunity to do it. So, it's a frustration. You know what would be ideal if we let Carlos go this summer and we're able to bring Kasongo back in as a homegrown at club player, this time on a contract where he agrees to be a rotation option, because that was the big issue with him. It's why we didn't really have the option but to sign him. He wanted to be a key player, and the moment he wasn't, wanted to leave. So we were kind of left with not much in the way of choice. Obviously, he was doing that off the back of winning the Premier League Golden Boot, so he did have a point, but he was never going to be a nailed-on starter of the way we play. But he'd be handy to have around the squad, and certainly very handy to have as a homegrown at club player. And that is a very tidy finish from Carlos. If Atletico Madrid want to just do a swap, Carlos for Kasongo, I'm up for it. I don't know if Kasongo is, but I'm up for it. We'll take him back. We'll bring another English player in. We'll bring a homegrown at club player in, the only one that exists that is worthy of our squad. Hull, by the way, already relegated. No, nowhere near as bad as Blackburn were last year, but still pretty rubbish. There's clearly quite a big gap between the Premier League and the Championship, because teams that come up do tend to go straight back down again, which does make Johnny Jackson's work here at Wimbledon before I arrived all the more impressive. Getting them promoted and then keeping them in the Premier League for 10 years. It's just excellent work. There's Mialescu, the only big boy in the squad. We're finally aiming at him from set pieces. It's been a long time coming, and it's back with Veriga on the left-hand side. He shoots on his right, but it's a wild effort that just goes very high and doesn't trouble the goalkeeper. And he needs to do a little bit better than that, the silly goose. Right, Dylan lays it off to De Los Santos. Dylan then gets it back again, turns inside and plays a questionable pass to Lee, who manages to keep control of it and not get us into all kinds of trouble. But it was a very careless pass. And now De Los Santos with the ball again on the right. Mialescu just wins it back. This midfield pair, this double pivot, look at me knowing what football is, but this double pivot we've got here is very good. I really like this Coppins and Mialescu combination that we've got now. Lee doing good work, lays it off to Dylan, and now Dylan to Carlos, and Cost bursts forward off the right-hand side. 24 goals for the season now for him. You can't be giving that as offside, referee. That was just good football all round. There's no way Cost's offside. No, he's not. This is just, I mean, it's really good from Lee. Dylan just playing it along to Carlos, and Carlos with the vision to spot the run from Cost, and he's not missing from there. It's just a good finish. 3-0. Hull still haven't had a shot. And now we've got a free kick with Cost. He's sticking this top corner. We've seen him do this before. It is Cost. It's going here. Right on the V of save lives from the sofa. And does the keeper get a touch to that, or is that hit the post? I think that's a save. It's a very good save as well, because he gave Cost a lot of goal to aim at and still managed to get across and make the save. Right, let's save players for the FA Cup final. Cost is going to come off. Yang can come on for him. We'll give a rare run out to Manuel Sanchez, on loan from Real Madrid. Didn't play a lot of football for us, but was, again, just useful as a squad member. So glad we brought him in, but certainly no intentions to keep him here permanently unless we can get him mega cheap. But really, we should be looking at English players, not Spanish players who aren't any better than what we've already got. I don't mind bringing in more foreign players if they improve us, but bringing in foreign squad players does seem a little bit extravagant based on the situation we're in. In fact, on that note, we should probably make at least our backup goalkeeper English or homegrown in England. But they don't even have to be English. You just need to be homegrown in England. And realistically, both of our backup goalkeepers should be, because that, again, it just helps with that Champions League squad registration stuff. But that sounds like far too much forward planning that I'm probably not going to get involved in. I do want to get Jaramillo on, because he's got one more year. We've got to keep him happy for one more year, and then he does become homegrown at club. The first of the new generation of homegrown at club players at Wimbledon. So we can't have him all upset and wanting to leave just as it's about to happen, because it's pretty important to our long-term Champions League aspirations that we get players like him. That's why we're bringing in that young Swiss defender. We need to bring in 2 or 3 18-year-olds every summer and get that flow of homegrown at club players going. Stop trying to think in terms of rushing to win the Champions League like we were this season, and think 2-3 years in the future, because I think that's how we're going to have to do it. We've had a little bit of a wake-up call this year. We didn't win the league. We weren't ever really in a title race, but we have qualified for the Champions League again. And fingers crossed, we've been given some cash to spend. I mean, if they just give me the 68 million now, that would be handy. With us being 100 million in debt, I suspect they won't. $5 million. I mean, it is ridiculous. We need a stadium, like a grown-up stadium. Let's go play the FA Cup final, and then we are going to have to do some serious wheeler dealing if we're going to keep Dylan with us this summer. So here we go then, FA Cup final. We should record an FA Cup final song, but alas, what is this? Hold on. Oh, God. Paris Saint-Germain are lurking. I'm glad we've tied him down to a longer, bigger money contract. But that still might be problematic for a little club like us. Let's win him some silverware and then he'll stay. So it's Drazic in goal, a back four of Lee, Vidal Santos, Shearlink and Albinusen, Coppens and Mialescu in midfield, Esqueda, Mertens and Yang behind Cost up front. It is our strongest 11. Why have I got him on the bench? He can't play against Manchester City because he's on loan from them. So our entire squad, apart from him and our third choice goalkeeper, are involved, which again does demonstrate that we could just do with 3 or 4 more players to allow us to rotate a little bit more, have a little bit of flexibility in competing for competitions on multiple fronts. But that's all a worry for tomorrow, for the next episode, for transfers, for next season. For today, we're Wimbledon against Manchester City in the FA Cup final. And I believe we're still the underdogs, even though we're reigning Premier League champions. Mertens, I don't know if he's had a little hit to his confidence. He would have hit that earlier in the season. I mean, he's still scored, I think. Did that come in off Mertens? No, it's an own goal. But, I mean, ultimately, we have scored a goal from it. But when Mertens first wins it back, you just expect him to hit it there. But instead, he lays it off to Yang. It's actually a difficult ball for Yang to take because he's got a man on him. Yang does really, really well. And then the defending from City is absolutely appalling. Comes off their defender, ends up in the back of the net. We're 1-0 up and nobody's had a shot on target yet, which is always fun when that happens. There you go. We've now had a shot on target just to ruin the match stats. It would have been lovely if it had ended 1-0 to us with nobody having a shot on target in the entire match. It would be a miserable FA Cup final for people to watch, assuming this is still the one match each year they can watch on terrestrial telly 20 or so years in the future. But I'm not here to entertain people. I'm here to win trophies. Yeah. Hopefully we can do that. Can somebody do something? I mean, we've had the shot on target now. I feel like we could maybe take a couple of highlights and not risk the whole trophy thing at the expense of just a little bit of entertainment, maybe. No? What a boring FA Cup final. I mean, there's the potential of a trophy lift coming towards the end of it, but my word. I need a book. I need something to do. Right, we're finally having a highlight. 53 minutes in. It's only the second highlight of the match. And it's Esqueda shooting from range and it whistles over the top of the crossbar. It's not even a save. I mean, if that's the highlight, that shows how ropey this football match has been. What have we got on the bench that can just mix things up and make some things happen? I mean, I want to bring Dylan on at some point today just so that he can say goodbye because we're probably not going to be able to afford to keep him. Because even if we do get the money together, it probably won't be before his loan ends. And if we can't get him on his optional future fee, I suspect we're not going to be able to get him at all. Because I imagine Inter will want to keep him. Cost trying to compete with the goalkeeper. That's why we need the plan B. That's why we need the big boy up top. Should we go and get Kurt Villakazi as well? Has he got himself an English passport? That would be super handy at this point. I mean, he should class as homegrown at club because I developed him. That should be enough. Right, Mertens to Esqueda to Cost. Did that not? That looked like it went in and bounced out. I mean, I'm assuming it didn't. I imagine the game would know. It looked to me that went in and bounced out, though. Right. Variga's coming off. We're also coming on. Sorry, we're also going to bring on Dylan and push Mertens out onto that wing. Lee is going to come off and we're going to bring Jaramillo on again to give him big game experience. He started in the semi-final in the FA Cup as well. We are trying to get him involved in these bigger games, get some experience into him. We want him to be our backup left back next year. But I think he'll be able to be used in the Champions League next year because he'll still be under 19. Maybe not. Is it under 21 in the Champions League? You don't have to register him, but he will have been at the club 2 years. So I think we'll be able to use him in the Champions League next year, even if he's not in the squad. That's my thinking anyway. There you go. We've changed the entirety of the midfield around as well. And, I mean, Costa's had a rotten game. What a rubbish FA Cup final. 1 own goal. 3 shots on target between the two of us over the course of the 90 minutes. I mean, if we get to win the trophy, we get to win the trophy. It doesn't matter how it happens, but it's not really anything to sing and dance about, is it, this one? A Manchester City team that are a shell of their former selves. But luckily, I have made a custom FA Cup out of Lego, which I am going to be able to lift. A unique trophy just for this circumstance. And this is we don't get many opportunities to have a nice little close-up look at these Football Manager shirts. They are very snazzy. Maybe I should get one. Are we ready? Come on. Lift the trophy. Lift the trophy. It's Coppens to lift the trophy for Wimbledon at Wembley. Only the second FA Cup in our history and the first one that goes on the official trophy books in Football Manager, because I guess they must have given it to McDonald's, which just seems absurd. Everyone knows that's Wimbledon's FA Cup. They should have the trophy history, but we've now won one ourselves, which is jolly important as far as I'm concerned. Not quite as important though as this summer that we've got now, because we need to do a little bit better. We don't even need to win the Champions League next year, but we need to at least make it to the quarter-final. This year was a rotten Champions League run, and we also need to do a little bit better in the Premier League next year too. So there's work to do on this squad. Job one is try and keep the best player in the Premier League this season by average rating, Celestine Dillon. I mean, theoretically, we should be able to get him for less than his release clause, than the optional future fee. Now then, we might have a little negotiation. We might do him the secret way, but that's for tomorrow. So if you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much to all these beautiful Patreon backers. And thank you very much for watching.